Is this a boot?
Are these boots? Yes, they are.
It's a red.
Red, yes, this is red. Well done.
¿Qué es ese?
Green.
Green.
Green. Candle slide.
Yeah.
The mouth, where is your mouth, Max? Well done, in your mouth.
Should the learning of a new language be started earlier? Would it be better for our children? Why is the English that children learn at schools not enough? In Catalonia, there are a lot of schools that start teaching English from the age of 3. Recently, some subjects are taught in English, but this is not enough. Some experts claim that early learning is a good way to introduce a foreign language, especially nowadays when English is not another subject to study, but a communicational tool used all over the world. How do we teach English? Beginning from when? And what do we mean by early learning? Some experts bet on the early learning of different subjects or themes. One of them is language learning. If we look at early learning, we find that it is trying to teach a child all the knowledge, attitudes and skills before their cognitive abilities are developed. Natural language learning is the normal process to learn and use your language during childhood. It is the way we learn our mother tongue. Nowadays, because of the difficulty of learning English, it has prompted the creation of new methods. A methodology that combines early learning with a natural learning process of a language is Kids&Us English School. Let's take a further look at this.
He took the Joey out to keep him safe.
Less than 10 years ago, a Catalan entrepreneur called Natalia Peranau decided to look for a new methodology to teach English to babies. Her school, called Kids&Us, was born in Manresa, Catalonia, and there are more than 156 centres in Europe up until now. When her daughter was born, she created the new methodology, Kids&Us. This method allows pupils to learn English like they do their mother tongue.
Start doing with her 10 minutes a day something in English. And when I saw how much she learned, because at the age of 2 she could understand a lot and she could also reply to me just kind of trying to make sentences, I realized that babies had a huge potential when it came to learning new languages.
Building block. This is a yellow, 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 yellow building block. This is a green, 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 a green building block.
What I did was to observe how my daughter learned English and also how she learned her mother tongue, in this case Catalan. So then what I did was try to reproduce the same process, kind of take the same process and put it in a method for other children to learn, in this case English.
The younger they are, the easier it is for them to just pick up the language.
I do believe in early learning for children, especially for languages, because children are prepared to learn English or other languages, any language really, when they're young.
So, the early learning methodology is the difference between Kids&Us and other traditional English schools. But isn't it too early?
I've heard some adults speaking and they're quite concerned about sending their children to English classes because they think they're too young. And that is based on this misconception that they can't learn another language when they're so young. And I say, well, I believe that it's the time to start.
And there are more and more that want their children to start really, really, really early, because they say, I think that parents nowadays know more than parents a few years ago. And also because, I mean, the results in our country, I mean, the level of English of people here is not so good. So I think that there are some parents who think that they should start really, really early.
It's never too late, to start learning a language. A child can start learning a foreign language at the age of 12, and maybe if he's good at learning languages, he can learn very fast. So it depends a lot on the student. many children, if they start learning English early, if the methodology is good, they like it. They are very motivated.
Come on! Well done! Say good morning! Bunny up! Come on, Bunny, wake up! Come on, Bunny, wake up! Wash your face!
If you really want to make children learn, it's really important that whatever you are doing with them motivates them. And that has a lot to do with their maturity. So whatever motivates a 6-month-old child will motivate a child who's 2. Even if some people may think, well, yes, but they are both starting from scratch. Neither of them knows any English. So, I mean, why don't we start in the same way? No, because whatever is motivating for a 1-year-old, it's not motivating for a 2-year-old. And that's what we do all the time. We try to find things, activities, and materials that are stimulating for all age groups.
We want to introduce English during a specific window of time. Linguistic research shows that children have the capability of learning a language as they do their native tongue in these first few years of their lives. And as early as 5 years old, they can start losing this ability to learn a language without studying, because of course children don't study vocabulary or they don't study grammar. You just speak to them, you interact with them, and they learn the language. And that's what we do at Kids&Us, is we have classes for babies and for young children. And after they've reached a certain age, we don't recommend them to start with the Kids&Us methodology, because perhaps they've reached the end of that window of time to learn a language in a natural manner.
Kids&Us methodology has specific guidelines, structures that teachers must follow. Kids go once a week to class and they have to listen to a CD every day at home. Their classes are small groups and there are a lot of activities and different educational material for every stage. To improve learning, every stage of Kids&Us is related to a character that is the same age as the student. Nowadays, they have groups for babies, kids, tweens, pre-adolescents and teens.
Our students see themselves represent as characters. So, for example, with Sam, one of the stories is Sam playing in the sandpit, and he eats the sand. And we always say, no, Sam, don't eat the sand. So it's, well, you can see in the story that Sam has different experiences that our students can have at this age.
We very consciously avoid is the traditional setting of a classroom with rows of tables facing the board and the teacher, because what we're most interested in at this stage still, and we will continue to be because that's what Kids&Us is about, is the interaction among the students and with the teacher, not just them listening passively.
There's lots of different activities. So the children can't get bored, they don't have time to get bored. So therefore, in one moment of the class, you'll be doing a listening activity, then you'll be doing a song.
There are many groups that we tested that were just 4 students in a class, 5 students, and that's a very good thing, because then the teacher can interact with the students a lot during 1 hour, an hour and a half.
With babies, we've got 2 courses. We've got the Mousy course. Our students are 1 year old or sometimes even younger, okay? And parents stay in class for the whole school year, okay? Because they really need help to do some activities, they need support, and they help teachers with the class management. And then we've got Linda's course, and our students are 2 years old, and parents only stay in class during the first semester.
We want kids to be exposed to English. The first contact that they are going to have with English is going to be through listening, because in fact the first contact that we have with our mother tongue, it's always through listening as well. A baby starts listening to the language. The second thing that happens in mother tongue acquisition is that a child starts to understand. So that's exactly what we also want kids at Kids&Us to do as well.
And Robin goes up to the air. And she goes down. And Robin goes up. You want to say hello to Robin? Robin for you. Down, up, and down. When do we use the rubber ring?
Beach.
To go to the beach, well done. When do we use the scarf? Mountain.
We start playing with cards and we start using the table, and they have already got a workbook, we call it. So we start using a book and they start using stickers.
They have the CDs that they need to listen to every day. So it's not only what they learn in class, but also all the repetition that they go through every day if they listen to the materials.
Carla, how many times have you listened to the CD this week?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have listened to the CD 7 times.
Excellent. So choose one.
They have to listen to the CD every day at home, at least once. Okay, and they all have booklets at home, not the babies, but the kids have booklets at home, and they have to color the pictures once they have finished listening to the track.
The third thing that happens in mother tongue acquisition is that a child starts to speak. And what we're going to do at Kids&Us as well, from the very first day they come to class, in fact, is make them speak in English. It won't really be speak because they haven't heard enough English yet, they don't understand English yet, but they are going to start repeating what the teacher says in English. And little by little, everything that they are listening to at home, everything that they are understanding, little by little, we want them to be able to verbalize these things as well in class.
When they start with Ben and Brenda, they are around 8 years old. They start with the writing and reading, and they start with the written exams. So yes, I think they have another homework apart from the listening to the CD, and they have to start studying at home.
And maybe at the age of 8 or 9, we will start reading and writing. So we're going to follow exactly the same process as in mother tongue acquisition.
Animal Planet, Fairy Tales and Mysteries are the last 3 levels of Kids&Us that are being developed up until now. In these last 2 levels, they want to turn all passive knowledge acquired from early learning to active knowledge to get a good linguistic performance.
The reason why we chose to structure the course around the topic of animals was because when we were designing these courses, this is an A2 level course according to the framework of European languages. So it's level A2. So some of the linguistic items we wanted to work on, such as the present simple, can, the verb to be, the verb to have, etc., that we wanted to consolidate, are things that if you're speaking about animals, you're going to need to use. So instead of dealing with grammar in a traditional way, saying we use the present simple for habits, routines, and general truths, which makes no sense to the mind of a 9-year-old because they don't have the cognitive abilities to abstractly deal with grammar because they're not ready yet. The way we approach this grammar is by using it over and over and over when we speak about what animals do, which is a habit, a routine, and a general truth.
We have taken the traditional method and we have kind of put it upside down. So in traditional methods, you start learning a language through reading and writing, whereas at Kids&Us, reading and writing are the last steps, not the first steps.
To the mountains.
In 2012, the University of Barcelona did a comparative study with students from 10 to 12 years old from Kids&Us, with students the same age but from other schools. Their objective was to compare the different learning contexts.
We're comparing students who were at the same age from Kids&Us with students who were learning English in other language schools in the same town. And we could see that students from Kids&Us perform better in almost all the skills. yeah, especially oral skills.
The students have excellent comprehension, and they also have great speaking skills, and they have a natural comprehension of listening, reading, and as I said before, a better level than I had seen before in students who had studied through the traditional method.
These graphs show the results of the comparative study. The graphs are scored from 0 to 5, and it reflects the evidence that students who learn with the Kids&Us methodology, based on early learning and in a natural way, get better results in all periods tested, specifically in oral English.
My boots, because I'm going to the forest where I hike. I'm taking my swimsuit and my towel because I'm going to the beach where I swim.
Students learn in different ways at different stages of their lives. So we said, as with babies, they just hear a language, you interact with them, and they learn it. And with older children, it's true as well, but when you start talking about teenagers, they may have a more mathematical mind, and they want to see patterns, and they want to learn grammatical patterns or vocabulary, word formations. And so we do have to change a little bit, but what we want to do is maintain the Kids&Us philosophy of the students learning naturally.
That our students have a certain level, a progressive level, but not necessarily that they are prepared exactly for an exam. There's no exam methods in class because that's not what we're aiming to do. We're aiming that they would be able to go to an exam, but it's not an exam preparation class.
Maybe tweens and teens is more, resembles more what we would call a traditional method, or the way most of us have studied languages in language schools or at school. But I think there are a couple of very important, very significant differences. One of them is that we take full advantage of the fact that any student that reaches the tweens level, so age 9, has to have been through the Kids&Us method for at least 4 years. They have been exposed to so much language that their listening comprehension is very strong for the age they have, and the pronunciation is also stronger, and then we can take full advantage of that.
For me and Hermes.
According to the study, a good early learning methodology guarantees better results for kids that study it. But is that enough? Why do we have so many difficulties in learning English? What do we have to do to improve?
Probably a combination of the conditions teachers find at schools. The fact that if you speak a Romanic language, learning a Germanic language is going to be more difficult than if we were learning Italian or French, for example. And also the training of teachers. If the teacher is not a good model or has not been trained properly, the results will not be as good.
We are not very motivated. We are not very hardworking. We are not very serious about that. I think that if people were really determined to learn English, they would learn English. But we very often, you can hear very often people say things like, oh yes, English is really important. Oh yes, you believe that, you are saying it, yes, but you are not doing anything that proves or shows that it's that important to you.
Is harmful in the cinema and on television that films are dubbed. I believe the original reason for dubbing films was for censorship, but that's not really a necessity now, and but they keep dubbing films.
It's not a lot of hours that we devote to English at school. And then the class size is usually large, 25 children, for a language which is a very practical skill.
It's very easy to say you two, but here people say udos, yeah? And I think these little things, or Spiderman, everybody says Spiderman. In English, spider doesn't mean anything, but a spider is an insect with 8 legs.
These are beach clothes. What has happened?
In both methods, traditional or early learning, the teacher has an important role. Their training is the key point in the teaching and learning process of their students. Kids&Us has special training for their teachers before the start of classes.
We have to be motivating. We have to be aware of our students. So if a student feels ill, or if a student is angry, we always have to check if everything is okay in the class. We have to be organized. That's very important. And yes, I guess we should love children.
What they do in the classroom affects the children's moods and their attitudes towards learning. And so if you have a teacher who is not friendly and who doesn't connect with the children, then the children may not learn, or they may develop an aversion to learning languages.
Your oral skills need to be very, very good, yeah, because all you will do is oral English, yeah. So yes, training and competence is very important, no matter what age your students are, but especially if they are very young children.
The teacher's training lasts around 5 hours in the mornings, and then we have a maximum of 10 trainees in a class, and then we talk about the Kids&Us method, and then we practice some activities in the class.
How can think with kids in a class, no? That someone needs to go to the toilet and they cannot go alone, or we show all material, we give them the calendar, so we talk about very specific things from every year.
Since after they've been listening to whatever we want them to listen to at home, when they come to class, the job of the teacher is to put all this information in context so that they get to understand it.
If the role of the teacher is very important as a natural learning process, then so too is the role of the parents. It is essential because the language needs to be achieved in a natural way. At Kids&Us, the parents' presence inside and outside the class is essential.
The earlier the children come to our school, the more important the role is of the parent.
Parents get involved in the method. They should put the CD at home, try to have fun while they listen to the CD with their children. And they've got storybooks, and we expect them to tell them the stories. If they don't know English, if they don't speak English, we've got like a microphone, we call it a talking pen.
So you put it and it would say, Emma, story 1. And then in the sticker number 1, it will describe what is happening, no? She's Emma's mom. She's Emma. Emma's wearing a jumper.
If they don't listen to the CD, if they don't do their homework, a student has 3 hours per week, which is fine, but it's always better if you have more exposure to the language.
Some of them will also ask, what can I do with him? And then we provide them with a few questions that he could ask the child concerning what he's been working. And others will say, what kind of, of cartoons can he watch? And they are constantly kind of asking for advice. And for this reason, we are also trying to produce extra materials, not just class materials, so that it's easy for them to keep working at home.
How does the cowboy sound? No? How? How does the cowboy sound? Yes! Yeah! Yes?
The Kids&Us universe goes beyond the classes and the work at home. The school has other activities for all children in favour of learning. In some activities, the parent's role has an important value. The most common activity is story time.
Our storytelling sessions, but the way we do them, they're almost like little plays, like little theatrical performances, because we have a backdrop. Now we're starting to use a sound equipment. Usually they are for one performer, because in most schools only have one teacher who is available for this type of event.
I put on my pants, I put on my ass, I put on my feathers, I put on my...
We make it very visual, so all the time we try so that there is a correspondence between what they're hearing and what they're seeing. So not only in the type of acting of the performer, which is very visual, lots of miming, very exaggerated facial expressions and stuff. Also, we have printable images for things that cannot be expressed by the performer alone.
Every year we're working hard to make the material up to date, so it doesn't seem old-fashioned or out of date.
We'll integrate more with technology for the students.
I'm convinced that we can reach really, 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 really far, because the product we are selling, which is English in this case mainly, can be sold almost anywhere in the world.
They have developed the different levels, the different ages of the kids in a very good way, approaching really the interests of all kids and their ages.
We had a group of students who started from the beginning, and they keep returning and they keep returning.
And we expect our students to reach the proficiency level.
An increasing focus on quality and on what's the purpose behind what we do and making it. And I see the future maybe going along the same lines, but who knows? Things just change so fast here.
Beans, 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 ba 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 beans, 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 ba 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 beans, 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 ba 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 beans, 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 beans.
We want them to feel really special when they are using our materials. We want to get lots of wows from them. So I think that's the key point. We want to make them go wow very often.
Through Kids&Us, we have learned that it's possible to learn English from an early age. Up until now, its methodology works with the students who study it. Despite that, the methodology has a guideline structure, with specific materials that maybe can't work with all students in general. Just because the early learning methodology is sufficient doesn't mean it's enough. Methodology is a necessary condition, but it's not enough. Also, it's important the teacher's vocation and training, parents' implication and collaboration, and the external media environment. But early learning's key is motivation. Educators like teachers and parents have to awake kids' curiosity so that kids want to knock on English.
It's all one love and we love to swing, falling from the flowers and swimming in the wind, and we're so alive while learning through emotions. English is the push to launch us into motion. We shoot off like arrows, flying fast like sparrows. It's all one love and